Hunger and cravings today in this live. Thank you for joining. And this is going to be hybrid live with me sharing a little bit about honoring our hunger, understanding cravings, recognizing cravings, that kind of thing, but also a Q&A session. So if you have any questions about the bundle, about what we talk about raw food, I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions. So please post in the chat below. And before we begin, check out the bundle. If you haven't yet, the link is in my bio. I will not be offended if you leave the chat to go to the link in my bio and go grab the bundle. There's only 5 days left to get this incredible offer. We have contributed our Alive Lunch video courses to this bundle, or videos in our course to this bundle. It's 35 hours worth of video content in Alive Lunch. And this course retails for $330, but you get full access to it when you buy the bundle for $49. So it's a crazy awesome deal, because even with my 40% off code, you're still not gonna get that course for $49. So even if that's the only thing you wanted in the bundle, it's still worth it. So head over to the link in my bio or in the description box below and grab the bundle before it's gone. March 10th, Sunday, it'll be gone midnight Pacific time. So please go grab it before then. So I wanted to share a little bit about honoring our hunger and recognizing cravings and understanding our cravings. Watching twin study, eating fruit, and watching your live. Oh, wow, lots of information coming at you. Yeah, the twin study is really good, and fruit is really good too. So thanks for joining me. But I wanted to talk about embracing and honoring our hunger. So in society, in diet culture, hunger is kind of like, people think they don't want hunger. Like they're trying to suppress it, they're trying to avoid it, they're trying to disguise it, they're trying to ignore it. But hunger is a completely 100% natural signal that our bodies give us asking for fuel. That's what hunger is. It is our bodies asking us for fuel. So if you're feeling hungry, eat. The thing is that cravings can be confused with hunger, because when we're hungry, we start to crave things. And it's kind of like cravings are like a symptom of our hunger. So when we have hunger, those cravings start to appear. And the thing is with cravings is that cravings are a reflection of our current habits. So currently, when you're hungry and you have cravings for, say, potato chips or pizza or whatever, typically, that is something that you tend to default to when you are hungry or stressed or bored or tired or whatever. So those foods reflect your current habits. And the only way to really truly change, or to help to change your cravings, is to start actually making different choices when you are hungry. So it's not about eliminating hunger or not being hungry for 8 hours or whatever, like trying to demonize hunger. We need to honor our hunger, and we need to say, okay, I'm hungry. If you're having a craving, usually one of the top reasons why you have a craving is because you're hungry. Most people go too long without eating, they skip meals, they're under eating, they're not eating enough, they're having small portions, they don't get enough variety. Or, maybe they're eating processed foods, they're not getting enough nutrition. So we end up being hungry, especially in this diet culture world where we're taught to undereat. We naturally undereat, especially on a raw diet. The number one reason why people struggle on a raw diet is because they are not eating enough. So when you go too long without eating enough, the hunger is there, and that's totally natural. But the cravings creep in as a symptom of hunger. And cravings have other reasons too, like peer pressure, childhood memories, comfort, all that kind of stuff. But we're talking specifically in this video about hunger and cravings. So hunger being totally natural and needs to be honored, right? When you feel hungry, your body's asking for fuel. Now, what you fuel your body with, that is the ultimate question. So if you have a craving for something like potato chips or pizza or junk food or whatever, when you have that kind of a craving, ask yourself, am I hungry? And if you are actually legitimately hungry and you need food, ask yourself if there's something else that you can consume instead. And normally a lot of people feel fear around saying never. Like when they go raw or vegan or whatever, they say, I'm never going to have potato chips again. I am never going to have this one thing again. And because never is a concept, like we understand never, but we don't actually really understand never, because never feels, so absolute to us that for some people, they can have fear around that word and they feel boxed into a choice where when they say I can never have it, that creates some fear within them. So instead of saying never, say one day. Use procrastination to your advantage. We're going to be talking about that in another live on another day, but procrastinate on those choices. So it's not that you're saying never, like you'll never have it. Say another day, right? Put it off to another day. We're really good at putting things off. We are really, really good at procrastinating. So if you want, just put it off to another time and then zone in focus and be like, I'm hungry right now. I'll have potato chips another time. What can I fuel my body with that will help me feel better? And usually that's a smoothie. It could be a bowl of fruit. It could be a couple pieces of fruit. It could be a salad. You could make a raw soup or whatever you want to make that is nourishing, that is going to help you feel better. Another thing that you can do is feel the emotions that you will feel after you've made that good choice. So like when you're hungry, you're having cravings or whatever, think to yourself, I can't wait to eat this salad because I'm going to feel empowered. I'm going to feel proud of myself. I'm going to feel hydrated and light and happy and excited, and I'll be grateful that I made a different choice. And put yourself in those emotions. Feel them before you even make the choice, because choices are usually reward driven. We make a choice in the moment because it feels good. And so we need to go to the feelings. Now, when we want pizza or chips, we know how that feels. It feels good to eat those foods, but it also feels good to choose a salad or make a smoothie. It feels good because it quenches our hunger, it gives us the nourishment and all of that good stuff. So when we're faced with a decision, not just put yourself in the feelings of making, the potato chip choice, but also allow yourself to feel the feelings that you will feel about yourself if you make a different choice. And obviously the choice is yours. You are free to choose whatever you want. But really, it boils down to what do you really want, right? Because we demonize these choices in society. Like it's bad to eat potato chips and it's bad to eat pizza and it's bad, 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 right? So we start to identify with that. And then when we do choose something like that, we tend to feel bad about ourselves. Like we tie our identity into our choices. But really, they're just a choice. So we may want potato chips, but we also want what it feels like to eat a salad. We also want health. So it really boils down to what do you truly want? And you are in complete control of your choices. So when you are hungry, remember to take a step back, take a minute, and ask yourself, what can you fuel your body with that's not the thing that you're craving? Because people ask me all the time, when do the cravings go away? When do they stop happening? And I'm like, cravings never go away, because cravings are a symptom of hunger. However, cravings change when your habits change, and habits take time to change. So if you want to change your cravings, change what you choose to eat when you are hungry. And the more often you do that, the more you solidify a new habit. So when you are hungry, eventually, with enough repetition, you'll naturally default to things like smoothies or fruit or salads, like I do, like Nate does, like many people who have changed their lifestyles over. They default naturally to better choices because they've made those choices. So don't stress out yourself by being super hard on yourself if you make a different choice. Use it as a learning experience to see how you can make a different choice in a similar situation in the future. And take it as a learning opportunity, because it's not something to be guilty about. It's something to learn about. So learning to embrace our hunger, to fuel our bodies, not ignore it, because, we're told to ignore our cravings. And yeah, it's just really challenging. The times I've tried going raw, I missed crackers the most. Well, you can make raw crackers. You can totally make raw vegan crackers in the dehydrator. There's tons of recipes online. In my party food ebook, which is not in the bundle, but you can get it on my website, I have a recipe for the everything bagel crackers. So you can make those. You can make dehydrated kale chips are crunchy. If you have a freeze dryer, I know not everyone has a freeze dryer because they are expensive, but you can make freeze dried snacks that are crunchy just like crackers. Like we make these freeze dried sweet potatoes with like a lemon dill dressing on them, and they're just like super crunchy and delicious. Or you can make freeze dried cauliflower marinated in some kind of delicious dressing, and those are crunchy and delicious, so they can satisfy that crunch while still being a really healthful option for you that aren't like doused in oil and loaded with salt, right? So yeah, crackers. And you can make fermented cashew cheese. Actually, if you buy the bundle, link is in my bio or in the description box below, you get my hand salads raw vegan wraps ebook, where you can make raw vegan wraps so you can have a handheld delicious salad. And in that ebook, I have matching fillings, spreads, and sauces that go with the wraps that you could use for salads or whatever. I have, I don't even know, maybe like 5 or 6 different cashew cream cheese spreads in there. So if you made yourself some raw crackers, you could have a cashew spread on there, or you could use cucumber rounds. Nate and I like to do that a lot. We'll just slice up cucumber and, you know, have a nice dip with that. So that's really cool too. Yes, dehydrator. Next step is getting a dehydrator. Dehydrators are not necessary on a raw diet. However, they are a lot of fun. They are so much fun. You can make a lot of different really cool recipes, including my wraps. The crunchy tacos, oh my gosh, if you want a crunch, get the bundle, because you get also my taco ebook. So you can make hard shell raw vegan tacos in the dehydrator, and they crunch. As long as you spread them 1/8 of an inch thin before you put them in the dehydrator, you've got a crunchy hard shell taco, and they are just unbelievable. So yeah, definitely go check that out. And the dehydrator that we recommend is Excalibur. So Excalibur dehydrators, we have model 3926TB, and if anyone wants a link to the dehydrators, send me a DM. I'll be happy to send you a link to the dehydrators. But that's the model that we use. It's the 9 tray, and it's really large, so it makes the large wraps, which is wonderful. And then someone's asking, I look at these freeze dryers, any particular brand? So the one that we have is Harvest Right, and I do have a link to Harvest Right. If you want that link, send me a direct message and I'll send you the link to Harvest Right. They are expensive. We saved up for well over a year to get our freeze dryer, but it's been really amazing. And I know some people out there do have freeze dryers. I was actually surprised how many people messaged and were like, we have a freeze dryer too. So some people do have freeze dryers, which is a really great option for preserving food. It's a very different technique than dehydrating. You can't make the wraps in a freeze dryer, obviously, because they would be like crackers. So, or like, you know, because it takes all the water out. With dehydrating, it just lessens the water, so it's still pliable. But yeah, Harvest Right. And there are other brands out there coming out now. So there are some other options now for freeze dryers. There wasn't when we bought ours. There was only Harvest Right, so that was the only one we could get. Is there a catalog that explains which bonus recipes are in which videos for a live lunch? So I don't have a list of all the bonuses. You have to watch the videos to get the bonuses. However, in the description box of the video, I do mention which bonuses that we did do in the video. So if you're watching the video and you read the kind of the description box below the video in a live lunch, it'll say like, today we made burgers, which isn't part of a live lunch, but we threw it in as a bonus recipe. Or today we made tacos, and you know, we'll get that in there too. Today we showed how to do this or whatever. So that's listed below the video in the description when you log in to a live lunch. And for anyone who wants access to a live lunch for $49, the course is going to be selling for $330. Even with the 40% off discount, you're still not going to be able to get it for $49. So if you did want access to a live lunch, get the bundle, because a live lunch is in the bundle. So you get full access when you buy the bundle for $49. It's the easiest, cheapest way to get into a live lunch, to watch those videos. There's 21 recipes that are, you know, official for a live lunch, but there's like tons of little bonus recipes and tips and health discussions and all kinds of stuff. Like there's 35 hours worth of video content because we like to talk. So there's lots of stuff in there, but definitely go grab the bundle. Link is in my bio so that you can get access to that. And all the main recipes are in the downloadable PDF, and there's like prep tip the night before. So you could technically follow it for 21 days and have a raw lunch every single day and just follow along, because we do it real time. So it's really cool. What are your newest recipes in the bundle? Great question. So not necessarily new necessarily, because we did, for example, the Chef AJ course or classes that I did with her, where we did kind of like, I made the raw version and she made the cooked version of 2 menus. So we had an Italian night and a Mexican night. You get access to this. This sold for $197 when we originally did it. And these classes are available to you when you buy the bundle, just $49, and you get access to everything. So I made like the Italian meatballs, some stuffed mushrooms, a cruciferous Caesar salad, and the German raw chocolate cake is in there. So those of you who want that German raw chocolate cake recipe, it's in the bundle. And then we did a Mexican themed night where I made like a Spanish rice. We made enchiladas and a berry parfait. So those were the raw recipes that were in Make It Raw, Make It Cooked that I did with Chef AJ. And then a live lunch. There are new recipes in a live lunch. There are 3 brand new wrap recipes that are exclusive to a live lunch. So if you bought the bundle and you have access to a live lunch, there's 3 new wrap recipes. And we make the wraps live on video for you in that course. And we also show you how we prep for them the day before. So there's tons of stuff in there. We go through our favorite tips and tricks and all of that. But what we've contributed to this bundle is the wrap book, the taco book, Make It Raw, Make It Cooked video classes with Chef AJ, Make It Raw Volume 2, which is a recipe book that I wrote with Chef AJ. You get 2 months free of my online meal planning app. So if you want lots of new recipes that are in the app, then get the bundle, because you can enjoy 2 months free. And once you've enjoyed those 2 months, you can choose to continue with the app or you can cancel. It's up to you. You're getting that in there. You're also getting Nate's new Ninja Nice Cream ebook. So it's for the Ninja Creamy. He made like 20 or so recipes for that. And we've already heard people really enjoying it. Those who have the Ninja Creamy machine, they've been making some epic dressings or nice creams from Nate's ebook. And Nate contributed his Kitchen Essentials video course too to the bundle. So those are all available. Actually, if you were to buy all our content that we put in the bundle separately, it would cost you almost $700. So for $49, it's worth it. So grab it. The link is in my bio. Can I get by without a dehydrator for like 10 days till I receive it? Of course you can. Yes, you do not need a dehydrator to enjoy raw foods, because you've got all kinds of stuff like straight fruit. Cut it up and put it in a bowl and enjoy that. You can make smoothies if you have a blender. You can make salads galore. You can make zucchini noodles if you have a spiralizer. Those are like $20. But yeah, you can make tons of salads, tons of smoothies, eat lots of fruit. I don't know what else, like sushi. You could totally do that with a blender. You could make raw sushi, and we teach you how to wet chop and make the sushi in a live lunch as well. So if you got the bundle, watch a live lunch, because there's a lot of recipes in there that you can make while you wait for your dehydrator. But yeah, you don't need a dehydrator. It's just really nice. It's just really fun. Will the raw lunch be available anytime once we buy the bundle, or will they disappear after a year? No. So the thing is with the bundle, The 1 year thing is just to download the PDFs. Once you download the PDFs, you can use them for as long as you want. Now, a live lunch, what you do is you download the PDF and then just follow the instructions on how to access the course. Once you log in, you can watch the videos as much as you want for as long as you want, whatever. But you got to get that PDF, right? You got to download the PDF. So the bundle is 1 year to download the content. And then once it's downloaded, you've got free reign. You can use it all you like. And we won't be taking down a live lunch. The only reason a live lunch would disappear is if maybe the company that we use to host a live lunch goes out of business, which I don't see happening, or the internet falls apart or whatever, or something happens, God forbid, to Nate or I, but like we plan on having it up for as long as humanly possible. So yeah, you'll have access to a live lunch. You can watch the videos as many times as you want. And yeah, it's all yours. So you get to learn and enjoy, take notes, and, learn from us. Where do you find all the kitchen items you use? Great question. So if you buy the bundle, you get Nate's Kitchen Essentials video course, and he goes through all the stuff that we use in our raw vegan kitchen. And he has links to everything that we use in his Kitchen Essentials video course. So you have to get the bundle to get that. That course usually sells for $67, but part of the bundle, you get that too. So, I mean, for $49, you're getting 150 different courses and ebooks and video series and all kinds of stuff. Like the bundle's value is over $8,000 if you were to buy everything separately. So go check out the bundle. Even if you just click the link in my bio and go look at the things that are in there, you might find a few things that you like. And even if you just found a few things that you like, it's still worth it than buying them separately off someone else's website, right? So you want to go to the bundle, grab it. And I also have, for those of you who don't want to buy the bundle, I do have an Amazon store link that has a list to everything that we like and use. So if you want that Amazon link, send me a DM and I'll be happy to send you my Amazon link. We have kitchen tools. We've got all the wrap tools. We have supplements we suggest, not that we take a lot of them, but people ask us for suggestions. So we have that in there. All my print versions of my ebooks that are in print. Not all of my ebooks are in print, but I do have some in print. There's a list in there for that. There's a list of books that I love, like other books from other authors that have changed my life. So there's a list in there for that. Then there's like skincare, the sleeping mask that we use, the water bottles we like. There's all kinds of links in there. So if you want my Amazon storefront link, send me a direct message and I'll send you the link for that. But otherwise, as for the kitchen stuff, check out the bundle and download the PDF to log into Nate's Kitchen Essentials course so that you can enjoy that. Someone's asking how many carbs in wraps. So the wrapper itself depends on the recipe. There's 34 different recipes in the wrap book, but I will say ballpark, and I'm just guessing here, I would say on average, one big 14 by 14 wrap, which is really hard to eat in one meal, just the wrap, not including the fillings, is around 100 to 120 grams of carbs. But the carbs come from whole foods like fruits and vegetables. Carbs are not bad. Carbs aren't bad. They're not bad if you're eating whole forms, right? We're not using processed sugar. We're not using that kind of stuff in our wraps. So it's a different carb. It's a complex carb. So they're good. They give you the energy you need. They fuel your brain. Our muscles and brain run on glucose. So it's very important to enjoy carbs and don't be scared of them. What do you use as culture for the cashew cheeses? We use a vegan probiotic. I believe Country Life has one. But again, in my Amazon store, I have links, and I have links to the ones that we suggest in the Hand Salads ebook. So if you're looking in the ebook, there's a page that says links to what you need. So there's links to everything that you will need in there. But yeah, Country Life has one, as long as it's a vegan probiotic and as long as it has acidophilus in it. It can have multiple other strains, but as long as acidophilus is one of them listed, you're good to go. Just use 1 or 2 capsules in your cheese to make it delicious. What's your personal favorite contribution in this bundle that isn't yours? Ooh, almond. That's a great question. I like that question. I have a lot of favorites. I would buy this bundle for like these products plus a lot of other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of raw content in this bundle. Like Chris Kendall has 3 ebooks in the bundle. Daniel McKinnon has 4 ebooks in the bundle. I love his corn dogs and his sandwiches, and he's got a lasagna and burgers in there too. He's got some really unique recipes. But yeah, there's lots of raw content in there. But aside from our content, I'm really looking forward to, and I've already started reading Mike the Vegan's Level 5 Vegan ebook, which he contributed to the bundle. It's got his humor in it, and I love it. I'm having a really great time reading it. So it's a guide on how to stay vegan, like what we can learn from ex-vegans, common struggles that vegans face, social challenges, that kind of thing. So it's really well written, and I'm really enjoying reading that. There's also another book in there that I really like, I'm excited to dig into, is from Dr. Lori Marbus, and she's got her annual labs for plant-based eaters. So people who are looking to get blood work done to, make sure that they're healthy, she breaks down blood work, like what you should look for, what's normal range, what plant-based eaters should be aware of, and what we should ask for in our blood tests. So, common things that plant-based eaters need more of. And that's a really valuable resource. And that's included in the bundle. If you click the link in my bio, go grab it now. You only have 5 days left to get this collection. And once this collection disappears, you won't be able to get it again this way. So if you like the stuff in this bundle, get it now before it's gone. I'm also really excited to implement Fascia Flow from Drina Burton. So when I saw this in the bundle, I kind of passed by it because, there's so many things in the bundle. But I really highly recommend people don't pass by stuff. Like, log in, watch the videos, consume the product, and really learn from these people because there's some gems. So I first kind of scrolled by because I was like, I don't know what Fascia Flow is. I know what fascia is, but I didn't have time really to go through it right away. But I did a live with Drina, and we did an exercise, right? A Fascia Flow exercise on her live, and I was sold instantly. Just one exercise, I was like, this is amazing. So I'm grateful for the bundle because there's even just those 3 gems are worth the bundle all in all. But you also get all the other stuff too that you can enjoy. Like Dr. McDougall has some videos on gut health. Dr. Furman has his infection protection thing in there. There's a lot of other doctors in there. Obviously, like there's healthy cooked food in there for people who are making stuff for their families, or maybe you still eat cooked food. So there's Cooking for Company from Tammy Kramer, which is a really popular thing in the bundle. Kathy Hester's in the bundle too. She's got some stuff in there as well. So it's just mind-blowing, the stuff. If you want to see what's in the bundle, click the link in my bio and go to the website and scroll through and see everything that you get. I noticed my recipes from plant-based bundle I got late 2022 disappeared. You have to download the content. Once you download the content onto your device, it's yours forever. So if they disappeared, that's because you didn't download the content. It's super, super important that you download the content onto your device. I highly recommend downloading it to a computer. And then once all the downloads are on your computer, then all you do is access from your computer. You have a file folder with all the ebooks and the PDFs and everything in a file. And then whenever you want the stuff, you just click on that. You don't need to use the email anymore. The download link disappears every year because the bundle is replaced with new stuff for the next bundle, right? So you have to download everything in a timely manner because after that 1 year is up, you won't be able to. But once you download it, it's yours forever. It's on your device and you'll be able to access it whenever you like. So make sure you download the bundle. Another thing that I'd really like to stress is once you download the bundle on a, preferably on a computer, once you download the bundle and you have everything in a folder, put that folder also in backup. Like put it on a memory stick or put it in Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that. So in case anything happens to your main computer, you still have access to it because it's on your memory stick or it's in Google Drive or whatever. So make a backup as well. It's really important. You need to back up your files just like you would back up your tax files. Like when you file your taxes and you get a PDF right? For your taxes, you back that stuff up. You put it on a memory stick or an external drive so you always have it just in case something happens to your main device. With your photos, your special photos of your family and everything, you gotta keep that stuff safe because digital content can disappear. So we wanna make sure that we have backups of it so you're not deleting it by accident or what have you. I have TMJ problems and chewing salads is hard. What could you advise to get all the needed nutrition with raw food besides smoothies? I would recommend doing a chopped salad. Like instead of the bigger chunks, do a chopped salad. You can get a mezzalune knife, which is kind of like, it's like a half circle knife. And if you get a really nice wooden bowl or whatever, you can just kind of like rock that knife around and chop your salad into fine, tiny pieces, and this will really help with digestion because you may not have to chew as much, although chewing is one of the most important parts of digestion. Super important. If you want to absorb more from your food, you gotta chew your food more. So take your time, go slow, work with your body instead of forcing it. But I would say chopped salads are really good. Ooh, I paused for a second there, sorry. So obviously smoothies are going to be an option, but yeah, chopped salads are a great option for people who have issues chewing because it just gets everything chopped up a lot finer to chew. I would like the Amazon link as well. All right, if you want the Amazon link, send me a direct message. I can't share in the chat here, so send me a DM and say Amazon store and I'll send you a link. So if you want the link, you have to send me a DM to get it. I can vouch those wraps are filling and I cannot eat more than half. I know, especially if you stuff them really full. They're really hard to eat more than half sometimes. I mean, I have eaten a whole wrap at times. And usually when I eat a whole wrap, it's because I haven't filled it super full. Usually if I fill it super full, I can usually only eat half. But Nate can eat a whole one sometimes. Ted Carr ate a whole one like that. So it just depends on how hungry you are. You have many recipes with cashews. I read that cashews are not raw. The raw ones are really difficult to find. Which cashew do you choose and where do you buy them? So we got, obviously they're not raw because they are heat processed to get them to you, right? But I'm not like a super strict, super strict raw vegan. I still do specific things like cashews, maple syrup, nutritional yeast, coconut aminos, and some fermented foods like unpasteurized tempeh, for example, living foods. So there are a few little things that I keep in my diet that are not legit raw, but it's not the end of the world if you're not, 100%, because I don't preach perfection. I preach as much as you possibly can get raw. And I just want people to enjoy more raw food in whatever way is good for them. So the cashews that we actually got like some really amazing cashews at Costco and they soaked up really nice. They were probably the best cashews that we've ever used. But sometimes I will get cashews on Amazon and I don't have any specific brands, but if I look for them and they look like they're really good quality, then I'll grab them. So I'm not really too brand specific on cashews. And I prefer not to get them bulk in, the grocery store because they're not the best. I like the cashews from Costco. I don't even know the brand. They were just so good. They soaked up the water so nice and they were super creamy. So I really liked those ones. I'm liking the 15-minute mobility for longevity one. Ooh, yes, there's so many good things in this bundle. I hope you go grab it and check it out. There's so many good goodies in there. Link is in my bio. Is there one in the bundle that talks about food combining, like not combine melons with other fruits? So this bundle doesn't really address that kind of stuff because that can be really restrictive for a lot of people. I think though Chris Kendall does address this in his ebooks. So if you're looking for something along those lines, check out Chris Kendall's ebooks because he does talk a little bit. I think he does talk a little bit about that in there. But we try not to be too obsessed or involved with the food combining thing. Nate and I don't do any food combining. We just eat everything and anything all times. I'll take that back. That said, we do try our best to avoid high-fat things with sweet fruits, right? Like we don't put fats in our smoothies, for example. We just do the fruit alone. That tends to be better on digestion. But when it comes to everything else, it's free game for us. Like we'll mix oranges and melons and bananas in our smoothie. And I know that scares some people, but our guts, we've worked really hard on building our guts. I think that food combining can be very helpful for people who have gut issues, but it's not a universal blanket thing for everybody that everyone needs to follow to have perfect digestion. Because our gut scores are the highest of anyone I've ever met who has tested our guts or their guts. So I'm not worried about food combining. I don't have any digestive upset if I combine all kinds of things. Our salads have like 25, sometimes 30 different things in it, and I have no issues because the body secretes amylase, protease, and lipase to digest everything. Anyways, regardless of the ratio, the body's gonna secrete those enzymes to help digest anyways. So like the whole food combining thing, I think started with people who had sensitivities to all kinds of food because their gut was weaker. So if your gut is weaker, you might need to do that for a little bit of time, but the restriction thing shouldn't be for all time. It's not something that you want to live in. But that's just my opinion. Again, like if you want to do follow some food combining stuff, Chris Kendall has some in his ebook, so you can check that out. But those are just my thoughts on it. I'm just not into it. When I first saw the food combining charts, when I first went raw, I was like, nope, I'm not even gonna go there. Just because there's so much that I had to think about that I didn't want to even think about. Like if I wanted to have an orange creamsicle smoothie, I was gonna have one, and it never bothered me. So, and I already had lots of gut issues, but I didn't find that kind of stuff bothered me, so I didn't. So I just recommend people, if you are in a weaker state of your gut, maybe follow that for a little bit while you build your gut strength so that maybe you can combine different things together. And people who do follow the food combining charts notice that sometimes they can combine things that other people can't. So really listen to your body. It's totally up to you with what you follow. I love that they get softer the next day, the wraps. I know my mama's in here. My mom likes the wraps. She likes them the next day. We like them the next day. And we made some wraps for Ted Carr when he was visiting us last time, and we sent him home with some extra wraps, and he had them on the airplane the next day, and he took a picture of his wrap with the window, and he's like, why are they so much better the next day? So I highly recommend, if you're going to make the wraps, wrap them for the next day. Like wrap them in some deli paper and leave them in the fridge. They are so good the next day. And that's what Nate and I like to do when we go hiking. We like to make the wraps on Saturday, and then we have them for Sunday, and we just go on our hiking adventure, and we have so many awesome, delicious, fun things to eat. Thank you for your answer. You're very, very welcome. Nuts.com. That's a great option too for the cashews and for other nuts. Yeah, definitely check that out too. I have heard some raw vegans avoiding nutritional yeast because they say it's carcinogenic. I personally don't believe that. Carcinogenic is a very strong word to use, and I would honestly recommend you do your own research. There are a lot of raw vegans out there who have some very heavy claims, and a lot of people, not just raw vegans, but there's a lot of people on social media who are using fear-based wording to scare people away from things or into things. So take it with a grain of salt, do more research yourself, and see what you think. Because I personally, I've heard both sides. I've studied a lot of the other side, people saying, all this and that and stuff, like nooch is bad or whatever. I've also read a lot of positive things about it, and I choose to use it. I don't use it often, but I do use it. I probably like a few times a month will make something, and it requires a little nutritional yeast. Not a big deal. We still use it. So it's totally up to you with where you want to do it, but I wouldn't make choices based on fear. When you start making choices based on fear, it's a different kind of choice. I actually love avocado with pomegranate. Weird combo, but I love it. That sounds good, actually. I put these seeds in pitted avocado and grab a spoon. That's awesome. I love that. How do you approach fruit sugar when preventing diabetes? Great question. I would highly recommend checking out masteringdiabetes.com. So Robbie, Nate and I are friends with Robbie, and he's got a business partner named Cyrus, and they help people with diabetes, type 1 and type 2, and they promote a high carb lifestyle to help with this. The reason being is because the fat is low. So it's low fat that's actually what's helping the insulin to be more sensitive, because what happens in the body, you have your cell and then you have your bloodstream, right? And say you eat something, say you eat a bunch of bananas or whatever. The bananas are, because there's fiber in bananas, it's slowly released into the bloodstream. And then there's all the sugar in the bloodstream. And when there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream, there's a signal sent to your brain that says, hey, there's sugar in the bloodstream. We got to get it in the cell to use for energy. So the brain sends a signal to the pancreas, and the pancreas is like, oh, there's sugar in the bloodstream. Let's send some insulin. So it sends some insulin into the blood, and insulin collects the sugar and opens the cell and escorts the sugar into the cell, and the cell can burn it for energy, and all is well with the world. However, when people start eating more fat, which the average person is not on a low-fat diet, even if they say they're on a low-fat diet, it's usually still 30% calories from fats. So it's not actually a true low-fat diet. We got to get down to like 8 to 15% range down there, percentage of fat, which is not a lot of fat. That's like a quarter of an avocado, half an avocado for the whole day. Or, a shot glass of nuts or seeds or whatever with your salads. And then whatever else you're getting in your fruits and vegetables, right? So low fat is very low fat. No oils. That's why the bundle is oil free, because it's the vegan health bundle. So we don't allow any oil in this bundle. So if you're interested in the bundle, grab it. The link is in the bio. And what happens is when we start eating more fats, oils, animal products, processed foods, or even like I said, oils, you're adding it to your meals or whatever. What happens in the body is that this extra fat, beyond what you actually need, is kind of floating around in your bloodstream, and it gums up the cell. So when you do eat that banana smoothie the next day after you had an oily salad or you had pizza with grease or whatever, you've got like a lot of fats going through your system, blocking the lock, so to speak, that insulin needs to open the cells. So the next morning you wake up, you have your berry banana smoothie because you want to be healthy again, and you get all this sugar entering your bloodstream. Your brain says there's sugar, insulin is secreted from your pancreas, and insulin is like, I can't open because it's blocked. And so the blood sugar remains high. And then the body is like, oh, there's still a lot of sugar in the bloodstream. Come on, pancreas, do your job. And pancreas is like, I already sent a bunch of insulin out. I'll send some more. So it sends some more, and it still can't get it into the cell. I mean, some gets in, obviously, but a lot of it doesn't. It's hard for insulin to get sugar into the cell when you have a high-fat diet. That's why we recommend, and a lot of doctors recommend, low fat. Low fat. Get rid of the oils, get rid of the animal products, eat whole carbs in their whole form, because when you're, extracting the fiber, like you're juicing or you're having processed foods or what have you, that sugar is released really quickly into your bloodstream. We need the fiber to help buffer that, which is very helpful as well. So low fat is the key, because if you test your blood sugar levels when you don't eat sugar, it's going to look low because you're not eating any sugar, right? Which is what is typically told for diabetics, to not eat any sugar. But if you're not eating sugar, then, your blood glucose isn't as high. Whereas if they did a blood glucose tolerance test to see how well insulin works, they would fail. Most people fail because they're already eating a really high-fat diet to make up for the calories that they're not eating from carbohydrates. So a high-fat diet creates a lot of insulin resistance, especially if you're eating a lot of animal products or saturated fats like coconut like crazy, or your omega-3 to 6 ratio is out of balance or what have you. And this is all just stuff that I've learned. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I'm sharing information that I've learned over the last 20 so years. And it's, it makes a lot of sense to me to eat low fat so your insulin works a lot better. So long answer to that question. I hope that was helpful for you. Next day wraps are the best, says Rosie. Rosie's in the bundle too. She's got an ebook in there as well. No to nutritional yeast. And you know what? That's totally fine. If you don't want to have it, don't have it. It's always an optional ingredient in my recipes, but we eat it. So, I love nutritional yeast. Sophie loves it. I decided to try it for my Morky. Sophie loves it. That's cute. Awesome. Awesome. I don't have a dehydrator. Can I make wraps in an oven on a very low setting? That's another great question. So I don't recommend using an oven because most ovens don't go low enough. Even on the lowest setting, most ovens low setting is 170 Fahrenheit. You need 115, like 115. Like, 170 is way too hot. It's going to turn them into hard crackers and they're going to be crusty and they're not going to roll up and they're not going to be very pliable. They're not going to be very enjoyable and they might have a burnt flavor to them. You need to have 115 degrees Fahrenheit. You also need adequate airflow and a fan. And that's why dehydrators are so great because they have a fan and there's a lot of space in there for the airflow to happen, but you can set the temperature to 115 degrees Fahrenheit and that warm air just blows over the wraps and it dries them out so they're still pliable. But sadly, the oven's not going to work because most ovens don't go that low. Some ovens do have a dehydrator function, and I have heard some people have success with that, but it has to be, again, 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, it's too hot. Costco sells organic unprocessed cashews. Yeah, I think that's the one that we got. Those are really good ones, by the way. We really like those. We went back and bought like a whole bunch more bags. Thanks for the glucose info. You're very welcome. That's a very good explanation of insulin resistance. Thank you so much. I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, the low fat helps keep my candida in check. Thank you for mentioning that. My mom mentioned with candida. So again, the story, if you have fat in your bloodstream preventing your cells from using the energy, guess who's gonna eat the sugar in your bloodstream? Parasites, bacteria, that kind of thing. So we want our cells to use the insulin, not the yeast. So when we go low fat and we're eating more fibers from other things, not only are we feeding our microbiome that fights off the yeast, but we are also using the sugar that we're eating more effectively so that, yeast doesn't have as much time to eat it. Great information. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. I'm so glad that was really helpful for people. I have a 5-tray dehydrator and believe my results for the wraps will be better in a 9-tray. The reason why I think they might be better is because there's more space for more airflow in a larger dehydrator, but the 5-tray still works. You want to also make sure if you're having issues with the wraps, please follow the instructions properly if you aren't, because you need to weigh out all the ingredients. If you don't weigh out the ingredients, you're going to get a very different result than what I get. So please use the weights. I put the weights in the book specifically so you get the same results as I do, because 2 onions for me might be very different than 2 onions for you. You might need 5. I might sometimes need 1.5. So you want to make sure that you use the weights. Make sure you use the weights and make sure that you blend the psyllium and the chia after you've blended everything else and only for 3 seconds. Follow the instructions. I have it line by line, so hopefully that those can help as well. So you're saying no oils in salads. I have not put oil in my salads for almost 10 years and I never will. I don't think oils are necessary or helpful. They don't really bring much except the viscosity, and they are 100% fat. So not necessary. If you want creamier dressings, use whole fats like avocado or cashews or almonds or hemp seeds or something like that. Use the whole food with the fiber intact instead of a fractionated oil that we've been taught is necessary when it's really not. We don't really need oils in our bodies. Our bodies are mostly water, and oil and water don't mix. I have anemia. Any help? Ooh, I would, for that one, that's a big one. If I had anemia, I would look into my iron sources. I would eat a lot more sunflower microgreens. Sunflower microgreens are actually one of the highest raw food sources of iron. Only 1 cup, like 1 cup isn't a lot. Like I can easily put 3 or 4 in my salad. 1 cup of sunflower microgreens has 6 milligrams of iron in it. So really, I only need 3 cups of microgreens to cover my entire day's worth of iron. And that's not including everything else I'm eating throughout the day. So I easily hit 24 to 28 milligrams of iron a day in what I eat, because I eat a lot of greens, I eat a lot of vegetables, I eat a lot of microgreens and sprouts along with my fruit. So I really make sure that I get a lot of iron-rich options in variety. You don't want to rely on, say, spinach for your iron. It's not the greatest source of iron. So even though they say there's lots of iron in spinach, it's not the greatest absorbable iron in spinach. Sunflower microgreens are going to be your best option, and having a variety of greens, have a variety of vegetables. Try to get some iron from a whole bunch of different places. Also, you're going to want to check your B12, because B12 is necessary in the intrinsic factor to absorb iron as well. So check out your B12 and adjust your diet if you need more iron-rich sources, or if you have to take a supplement. Take a vegan iron supplement if you really need to. There's nothing wrong with that while you work your way up to better levels, right? You're so well versed in nutrition for humans in the 21st century. Is there a course you recommend to get the nutritional fundamentals? Yes, I do actually. So I've been studying this since I was about 19. So it's been now almost 25 years that I've been studying nutrition, and it's been an ongoing thing. I worked in the natural health industry for about 10 years, and I've constantly been educating myself, especially the last 10 years, with raw food education and more vegan education as well. So I really highly recommend Dr. Rick and Karen Dina's raw food education program. It's rawfoodeducation.com. rawfoodeducation.com. They have a year-long program, and it's science-based. Nate and I went through their program. We have our certificates saying that we went through their program. It is the most science-based, balanced, logical raw food educational program that I've ever known. So I think that I highly, highly recommend it. It is a good investment. Get on a call with them to talk about the investment. They have a self-paced version, and then they have like ones where you actually can talk or with them live every Tuesday, I believe. That's what we did. We had lives every Tuesday, so we could talk with them, ask them questions, go over the course material. We got new material every week that we would go over. There would be quizzes. We had to do a final project. For those of you who go to my YouTube channel, the very first video on my YouTube channel is the benefits of raw food. And I made that video as my final project to get my certificate from Dr. Rick and Karen Dina. So that's the video that got me my certificate. If you want to watch it, it's on my YouTube channel. As soon as you go to my YouTube channel, it's the first video on there, so you can watch that if you want. I am very proud of that video. It took me over 40 to 60 hours to make that video. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, rawfoodeducation.com from Dr. Rick and Karen Dina. They are actually part of this bundle. They contributed their dressing difference ebook, which shows you the difference of like when you make a homemade dressing, you add it to your salad, how that changes the nutritional balance of the salad, and they go through all the nutrition. So check out that book. Is in the bundle as well if you haven't gotten the bundle. Link is in my bio. You only have 5 days left to get that bundle. How much fat per day is okay? I mean unprocessed fats from nuts, coconuts, etc. So the fat per day depends on your total calorie intake. Now, I'll just use myself as an example. I consume around 2,400 calories a day for my BMR plus activity. So at 2,400 calories, 10% total calories coming from fat ends up being around 240 calories from fat. If you divide that by 9, because there's 9 calories per gram of fat, it's approximately 26 grams of fat. So I eat around, to keep it at 10% of my total calories, it's around 26 grams of fat, maybe about 30 grams on the higher end. So 30 grams of fat, that's like half an avocado or a shot glass of cashews, maybe, a quarter cup max of certain things or whatever. So that's about as much fats as I like to have. Some days we do eat more, and some days we eat less, but it's an average overall. It's not a lot. We really don't need a lot of fat, and I really heavily encourage people to focus on omega-3 rich sources like chia and flax. Walnuts are okay. You know, they're touted as being an omega-3 rich source, but it's not as high. Hemp as well, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio, but chia and flax is actually the top source, and then chia. And those are the best sources of omega-3 fats. Whereas, you know, like we're eating way too many omega-6s, like way too many. We need to balance that out, lower the omega-6 intake and increase the omega-3 intake. So usually for lunch, if we're having a low-fat dressing, it's usually chia or flax that goes in our sauce for our salad. And then dinner typically has our shot glass worth of nuts in our creamy dressing, or cashew sauce on our wraps or whatever, or some cashew cheese in our wraps and stuff like that. But we try to keep it down to like a shot glass or 2 max of fats in our whole day. So, you know, just for an average ballpark, if you're trying to keep your calorie or your fat percentage down to 10% of your calories, then just do the math on that. And usually for anyone eating over 2,000 calories, it's anywhere from like 25 to 30 grams for the 10 to 15% range. So yeah, hope that helps. I have 5 tray. Can I still do 4 wraps? I wouldn't. Well, okay, so the 5 tray does fit the 14 by 14 trays, but I wouldn't do 4 trays in the 5 tray, because if you think of it, the percentage amount of space that's being used with 4 trays in a 5 tray is a lot of space. There's less airflow, so those wraps are going to take a lot longer to dry because there's so much extra moisture in a smaller space. I think 4 trays in a 9 tray is a lot better of an option, but you can do 4 trays in a 5 tray. It's just going to take a lot longer to dehydrate, like maybe another 6 hours on top of the original 12 that usually 2 take. But again, the dehydration time is going to depend on where you live, how humid it is, how many trays you have, this type of dehydrator. Some people's dehydrators, the temperature gauge isn't always set exactly at 115. So some is less, some is a little higher. And some people who notice that their wraps are really hard, their temperature gauge might be set a little on the high end, like maybe they have it set to 120 or 125. It might be a little too hot and make them more dry. And some people who say like it takes 18 hours to dry, maybe their temperature gauge is more on the lower end. Like maybe if they have it set to 115, it might actually only be 90, the air that's coming through. So make sure the temperature gauge is set properly on your dehydrator to get the best results for that. I love that your recipes are so specific and detailed. Many just say 2 apples. I know. And I used to do that too in a lot of my previous ones. And when it comes to salads, you know, weights don't really matter. I mean, like if it says 2 apples, whatever, you chop 2 apples and put them in your salad. It doesn't really matter. But when it comes to the wraps and then certain other recipes where you need a very specific amount, if in any recipe that you ever see it calls for weight, weigh out the food, because the recipe creator specifically put the weight in there for you to follow exactly the way that they created the recipe. So thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that about my ebooks. Yes, we don't need seed oils. They're processed. I agree. I think oils are a processed food. I consider them processed food. Is peanut butter okay on a high raw life in salads to make dressings? If you're going to do peanuts, most peanuts can be contaminated with aflatoxin. It's a yeast, and it's not healthy. The toxin itself, not the peanuts necessarily. Peanuts are extremely high ratio of omega 6 to 3. They have the lowest omega-3 of any nut or seed. They're actually a legume, so they have the lowest omega-3 of anything. I really don't recommend using a lot of peanuts. I do use peanuts like a couple times a year. I have some recipes that do call for peanuts, but again, it's super rare that I use them. And when I do, I use the jungle peanuts. So on Amazon, there is, like, just type in jungle peanuts. These are peanuts without aflatoxin yeast on them naturally. So I would recommend those ones. I'm actually going to be making Chef AJ's peanut chews. The recipe you can get in the bundle. It's like a bonus bundle recipe that she added. It's coming in her new desserts recipe book, but she added it in the bundle because so many people ask for it. It's called Goodman Peanut Chews, and I'm gonna make a raw version today with the jungle peanuts, so that's gonna be really cool. Let's see what else we got in here. My mom says Ferrum Phos 6X tissue salts can help treat anemia. That's great. Yeah, tissue salts are amazing. How to handle risk of bacteria in store-bought sprouts. Rinse them good. I honestly recommend growing your own with sprouting seeds because the sprouting seeds have been tested for pathogens. So they're a lot safer to use than store-bought sprouts that are already made. So I'm going to be doing a Sprouting 101 live on Saturday. I think it's at noon. So join me on Saturday at noon Pacific time and we'll be going over some sprouting stuff, jars and how to sprout and all that good stuff. So you can make your own and not worry about the bacteria. I've always used coconut oil, so it's a no as well. For me, coconut oil is a no, unless you're using it for your skin. I don't consume coconut oil. It's very high in saturated fat and it's an oil. It's a processed fractionated food. I don't use coconut oil in my recipes or in anything. Like I said, I have used it on my skin, which is totally fine, but using it in food, I wouldn't do. I don't think it's a good idea personally. I just don't. I'm not into oils. I don't like it. What's your top 3 favorite dressings? This changes all the time. But right now, I will say my top 3 favorite dressings would be my French dressing is always, that's always number 1. And easily I can share it with you really quick. 5 dates, 2 cloves of garlic, the juice of a lemon, a little apple cider vinegar, some smoked paprika, and maybe chipotle powder if you want it. I've been recently adding a tablespoon of chia seeds to that to get my omega-3s. Blend that with about a cup of water and you've got yourself a delicious recipe. That is my favorite of all time. It really got me through when I first went raw. I ate it almost every single day because I really loved it. And then I also really like one that Nate and I make a lot is a miso Caesar. That one's in my dips and dressings book. It's not in the bundle, but we do have a Caesar dressing in a live lunch. It's on day 1. It's the citrus Caesar. It's a really good one. Oh my gosh, a live lunch access in the bundle. Get it now. Link is in my bio. So you get access to a live lunch and we make a lot of salads in there. We do make a version of the French dressing. I think it's called French twist or something. And the Greek salad is in there too. That would probably be my 3rd right now. I'm really into the oregano, oniony, Greek. That one is in a live lunch as well. So head on over to the bundle because there's loads and loads of salad dressings in there. There's a lot of raw content as well. So another dressing that I've been loving that is not mine, but you can get it in the bundle. So because I'm a raw vegan and I don't use the cooked food things, I still read the cooked food things because sometimes there's stuff in there that's accidentally raw. And because I download the bundle too, Broccoli Mom, she has her Indian cookbook. And I was scrolling through, looking through the salads and all the stuff, trying to see if there's anything like secretly raw in there. And she has a salad, it's a chana chat salad. And the dressing was raw. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna make this. I was super excited. And it is an amazing dressing. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely gonna be one of our top dressings that we make more often now. Thank you, Broccoli Mom. The only thing I changed in that recipe was instead of the roasted chickpeas, I used sprouted chickpeas to make it raw, right? So yeah, those would be my top 3. Are you going to save this live? Of course. Every single live that I do gets saved on Instagram. I'm also going to post it on YouTube as well. So if you missed it, please save the live. I always save all my lives. They're all in the Reels tab on my Instagram. So you can tap on that Reels tab and watch all my previous lives and Reels. They're all in there. So you can go check it out. I wanted to get a meal plan that is simple, that is in your bundle of books. I purchased all your books. So when you buy the bundle, you get a special code to get 2 months free access to my meal planning app. And this meal planning app generates a 5-day meal plan. You can add day 6 and 7 if you want, but it automatically generates 5 days of breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. And from that list, it creates a grocery list And if you just buy everything on the grocery list, you'll be able to make all those meals for 5 days. It's an amazing app. I really, really highly recommend people try it out. And that's why I wanted to give 2 months free in the bundle. So if you buy the bundle, not only do you get the wrap recipes, the taco recipes, a live lunch, full access, but you also get 2 months free of the online meal planning app. You can find that at rawfoodromance.com. Just go to rawfoodromance.com if you want the app separately. But if you want to get those 2 months free, buy the bundle and download the PDF to get the code to use to enjoy 2 months free. And I've got tons of recipes. I think there's over 120 in there now for the online meal planning app. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, the app is amazing. Is there an app that can tell us how much fat and calories we should have daily? So there is an app that can track your food intake, like you enter your food into it and it shows you what you ate, but it doesn't tell you what you should have. It just tells you what you ate. Because in diet culture, you know, like there's so many different ideas of how much fat and how much protein and how much this and that and everything that we need. I just use Chronometer as a learning tool to understand what I'm putting in my body. I know that I want to follow 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, around 10% fats. So I just look at Chronometer with that in mind. Chronometer doesn't tell me what I should eat. It just tells me what I've eaten when I put it in. So chronometer.com is a really great app for that, to start learning about what you're putting into your body. I love this live. You guys are asking great questions. What's the best beginner dehydrator? So when I started, I used cheap dehydrators because I thought as a beginner I needed a cheap one, and they were like the round stacking ones with the hole in the center. No, for a raw foodie, those are not good ones. I went through 3 of them. The fan broke, the airflow sucked. You couldn't do big things because there's a hole in the center, and you can't really do things like wraps or whatever in there. So I saved up and I bought the Excalibur 9 tray. I think that's the best dehydrator, especially for beginners. You can get the base model, which is the one we have, 3926TB. That's the model number. And if you want a link to Excalibur, just send me a DM. I'll be happy to send you a link to Excalibur. Thoughts on seedless fruits? I don't really have any thoughts on that. There's, again, a lot of fear going around out there. And if it's seedless and I want grapes, I'm going to eat them. I don't think there's, a huge deal about it personally. And I'll eat them if I'm hungry and that's what I want. I'm going to eat them. I'm not going to starve looking for seeded grapes, which are pretty hard to find and not really as enjoyable, I must say. I don't really enjoy seeded grapes to the extent that some do. So if there are seedless out there, I'll get them anyway. I don't mind. It's not like a huge priority for me to get, seeded everything. If it's seeded, like a seeded watermelon we get from like a farmer's market or whatever, awesome. We don't really put so much pressure on having like these perfect foods or whatever. We would rather eat enough, get a lot of variety, and enjoy our food than to fit into some like fear-based box of like, oh, we can't have this because it doesn't have seeds. I'm still gonna eat them. So those are just my thoughts. I know some people disagree with that, but whatever. I can't wait for Sprouts session. Yes, that's Saturday at noon Pacific time. I'll be talking about Sprouts. I have some going right now, so I'll be able to share a little bit about those. Is coconut water okay? I believe coconut water is awesome. It's very high in minerals and carbohydrates, and I don't think there's very much fat in there. So yeah, coconut water is great. We like to add it to our smoothies and sometimes to our dressings. Let's see, what else we have in here? Microgreens, yes. I love her book, thank you so much. I always fail at sprouting chickpeas. Okay, I found a really cool trick with chickpeas. I don't enjoy chickpeas usually, but now I do. So what I did was I soaked my chickpeas, and you can get a sproutable brand, Anthony's. If you want the link, send me a DM. I'll send you a link to the sproutable ones that we get, because they've been tested for pathogens. That's why they're sproutable. So they're organic as well. But what I found is if you soak them for 48 hours, for 2 days, they sprout way easier and they're much better. But what I do, okay, so I soak them in water for 24 hours. Then I rinse and drain and I replace the water for another 24 hours until they grow nice and big. Then after those 48 hours, it's like 2 days, then I rinse and drain, and then I tilt them upside down so the water can drain out the mesh lid that I have. And I do that, and I rinse and drain about twice a day for a day. And then after that, they're ready to go in the freezer. They might not have a tail, but they are pretty much sprouted. So what I like to do with chickpeas now, and I'm adding them more to my diet now because of this trick, is I will take those soaked and sprouted chickpeas, I put them on a plate after I've rinsed and drained them, put them on a plate in the freezer overnight. And then when I want chickpeas, I just take a portion out, I thaw them on the counter, or you could in a little warm water, not hot, and just thaw them out. You got chickpeas for your salad, and the texture is unbelievable. It's awesome. I think that frozen and thawed chickpeas, sprouted chickpeas, are so incredible. I'm definitely going to be eating more of those. So try it out if you want. It's really awesome. They're so good. What is the app called? Okay, so my app is called rawfoodromance.com, and if you're looking for the tracking app, it's chronometer.com. CHRONO meter.com. Chronometer.com. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to find your past lives. Yes, they're all in my Reels tab. Let's see what else we got here. Excalibur 9 tray, I love. Yes, we love ours as well. It's so awesome. I like soaked chickpeas. Yes, if you soak them long enough and you let them sprout for a day, or maybe even 2 if you want to see the little tail. But it takes them a really long time to get the tail. And by that time, they tend to be kind of slimy and I don't really like them. But I do like them when they've just been soaked long enough and sprouted just enough. I can kind of see a little tail. Don't worry, I'll show you guys on Saturday the chickpeas that I sprout. So you'll be able to see what they look like. Yes, they're so good. Oh my gosh. I loved your live when you talked about sleep. It made a lot of sense. I went raw for a few weeks, but now I'm definitely not eating enough because I keep waking up at 6:30. It depends on what time you go to bed. If you went to bed at, say, 10 o'clock, 6:30 is a perfect time to wake up. Most people need between 7.5 and 9 hours of sleep. Usually women need more sleep than men, but 7.5 to 9 hours is 5 to 6 sleep cycles, which is plenty. So if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock and you're waking up at 6:30, I think that's totally fine. But if you're going to bed at 1 o'clock and you're waking up at 6:30, that's not ideal. So you want to take your 6:30 wake up time and minus 8 hours, and that should be your bedtime. So try to get 8 hours of sleep. 9 for women is, 9 for me is ideal. If I get 9 hours of sleep, I am, yes. If I get less sleep, it's not the best day. No matter how clean your diet is, if you're not getting enough sleep, it's going to affect your day. What brand of chickpeas? Anthony's. Anthony's is the chickpeas that we get. If you want a link, send me a DM and I'll send you a link to the chickpeas. This may be a random, but I want you to know what you think about oil pulling. I mean, there's science supporting it and there's also science not supporting it. So I think that if it gets you into a good hygiene routine, do it. If you want to do it, obviously you're not swallowing the oil. You're just using it to like clean the bacteria, and people feel like they have clean mouths. So if it helps with oral hygiene, go for it. I'm not a fan of oil pulling because I don't enjoy it. So I don't do it. I've tried to do it. I just can't get on board with it. And it's just personal preference. So if you like it and it helps you, then go for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There just might not be as solid science supporting it on one end. But there is some on the other end. So it really depends. If you want to do it, you go for it. Can I ask a personal question? Is the romance in Raw Food Romance between you and Nate or you and the food? I like this question. So Raw Food Romance started out as me and the food. In 2010, so oh my gosh, 14 years ago, I was doing one of my bouts of raw food, and I started a Twitter account, and I called it Raw Food Romance because I wanted to have a relationship with food. I wanted to fall in love with real food. So that's why I called it Raw Food Romance. And it caught on, and then, after 2010, I kind of fell off. I did some other diets. I did some really crazy stuff. I ate some crazy stuff. And then in 2014, I got back to raw again, and this time I did the low-fat version, and I felt a lot better. So I started my Instagram, Raw Food Romance, and my YouTube, Lissa's Raw Food Romance. So it really originally happened as my passion for raw food, but over time, it kind of manifested itself into a raw food romance because I met my husband in 2017, and I did an interview with him on my YouTube channel because he bought my book and he changed his life. So I did an interview with him and we clicked instantly, fell in love, and I was in Canada, he was in Oregon, US, so we did a long distance relationship for about 1.5 years, and then we got married, and now we're living together in Las Vegas, and I'm gonna become a US citizen. So I got my American interview to get my citizenship. I'm gonna be naturalized on April 2nd. I'm so excited. Nervous because I hope everything goes smoothly. It should, but you're still nervous, but it's like a test, right? I have to take a test. I have to take the civics test. I need to get 6 out of 10 questions correctly. I need to know like House of Representatives stuff and the longest rivers. And I know a lot. Obviously I've been studying for it, but you're always nervous when there's a test because you're like, oh, I get them right. So that's happening. But yeah, the romance part, it kind of manifested later down the road between me and Nate. So super awesome. I love that there's kind of 2 stories to that. Yeah, I've been a vegan for so long, but I never tried raw. Is it very time consuming going raw? I personally don't think so. In fact, I have a story. Nate's sons made a box of mac and cheese, and we made salads one night, and we were done making our salads and the dressing before their mac and cheese from a box was done. So it is a lot faster. I think it might take a little bit longer time to chew everything because you do have to eat a larger volume, but you don't have to be a completely raw vegan. You can start slow. Start by getting the bundle. Link in bio or in the description box. Get the bundle because you're getting a lot of raw vegan recipe ebooks, and start incorporating more raw into your diet, right? Because you don't have to be 100% raw overnight. Work up to it if that's where you want to go, right? Start adding more raw and see how you feel on more raw, and you might want more raw, right? Start with a raw dinner. Download the wrap book from the bundle. Make some raw tacos. Have some of Chris Kendall's salad dressings. Make something from Daniel's ebooks. Try different raw food recipes, in place of something that you would normally make for dinner or lunch, or make a smoothie. There's 3 smoothie books in there, so you can make a smoothie for breakfast. That's raw. Just slowly start to incorporate more raw into your diet and see how you feel. It really doesn't take as much time. I would really highly recommend getting the bundle, obviously, but downloading our Alive Lunch video course, because we teach you how to do the food prep the night before and how to prep the salad. Now, the videos are long because we like to talk. It really does not take an 1.5 hours to make lunch, but we like to talk, we go into detail, we show off stuff, so it takes a longer time to make our meals. But really, I can make a salad and dressing in 15 minutes. Super fast, but it comes with practice. It comes with habit. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Just like any other recipe, just like your cooked, lasagna that you might be super pro at because you have it all memorized. You can make it like that, right? Someone else coming in, getting that recipe might take an hour to make it because they've never made it before. So be gentle with yourself. Take the time, like maybe on Saturday when you have time or whatever, make a raw recipe, try it out, see how you like it, and slowly, gradually add more raw food, because that's the whole point. The whole point is to enjoy more awesome raw foods in your diet. Don't worry about being 100% raw or whatever. Just start adding more raw. Going raw is fast and simple. It is. It can be really as fast as peeling a banana. That's raw. You can chop up fruit, have a big fruit bowl. You can blend up a smoothie, takes 5 minutes. That's really easy. Dressings take 5-7 minutes to blend up, and you chop up a nice salad in like 10. Super easy, very fast. The only things that take a lot of time are, planning for like dehydrated things or other more intricate, but it's the same with cooked food. Right? Like I remember back in the day when I used to eat cooked food, sometimes dinner would take like an hour. But, it really depends, because with cooked food, there's things that take forever and there's fast things. With raw food, there's things that take a long time and there's faster stuff too. So it really depends on what you make. Will depend on how fast that is. Thank you. Yeah, you guys are so awesome. Thank you for all the amazing questions. This is a great live. I'm going to have to go though soon because I have another live in 8 minutes. What's your best advice for someone going raw for the first time? Best advice is to be patient and focus one day at a time and eat enough. Eat enough is like probably the top thing. Make sure you eat enough and eat enough variety. Those are really, really important. Check out my YouTube channel. I've got over 1,000 videos over there talking about raw food. Learn something new every day. Get the bundle. Get the bundle because you can get a live lunch so you can learn more about the raw food diet. We share so much information in that course. It's unreal. Like we talked about tips and tricks and health advice and how counting calories. Like we did the calories one of the days, and like there's so much bonus stuff in that. Like that's why the videos are so long, because we added a lot of bonus stuff. So yeah, those would be my best advice. I also have 52 to a New You, which is a raw vegan transition guide. It's not in the bundle, but it is in my ebook store. So if you wanted a link to my ebook store, send me a DM. I can send you a link to that. It's called 52 to a New You. It's a 300-page transition guide with recipes in it to get you started, but it's got everything I could possibly think of about a raw diet in there. So check it out if you want to. That's really good too. Garbanzos, buy organic at health food store. Mine not for sprouting and always works, always organic. Yes. So if they're not for sprouting, they're not tested for pathogens. That's why I like to have it say sproutable on the label, because that means the company tested it for pathogens. Because, lots of people are worried about E. coli or salmonella, and stuff from the bulk bin is usually meant for cooking. So you're applying high heat to it, so you're killing any bacteria that could be in it when you're cooking it. So that's why I personally recommend getting sproutable on it. If it says sproutable, then the company's typically tested for pathogens, so they're safe to sprout. But yeah, bulk ones work too. I've seen that happen. Do you have children? I have 2 stepsons. They're Nate's boys. I'm actually going to Oregon to celebrate Jacob's 21st birthday in March, so that's going to be really fun. But yeah, they're my stepsons. You are going to know things most of us US citizens don't know. Good luck. Congratulations. It's so true. I know it was really funny when I was going on YouTube. They have like the civics test where they ask the question. They give you a couple seconds to answer just for studying purposes. And I was getting more questions right than Nate was. It was so funny. We were laughing so hard because, like when you're studying for it, you do learn a lot. I've learned a lot. Raw till dinner is a good place to start. That's so true. Yeah, do raw till dinner. Add more raw with your dinner. There's so many options. Alternatives to jackfruit we can use. It depends on the recipe. What are you using the jackfruit for? It really depends on the recipe to offer suggestions for that. The bundle is great. Price is fabulous. Buy. Few days left. Don't miss it. Graphics are gorgeous. Aw, thank you, Carol. So awesome. And by the way, I think I have figured out my PayPal problem with my 1099. So hopefully that fixes itself. All the stuff that's been going on in our life, 2024 is really scooping it on. Every time I made a dressing for my salads, the taste of the vegetables gets lost because of the flavor of the dressing, and I end up only tasting the dressing. I would recommend using less dressing then. I don't find that personally. I think there's a lot of stuff that happens preferentially too. Like everyone's going to experience it differently. I would try different recipes. Maybe those ones are the ones that you don't really like, but I personally love dressing drenched salads. So I use a lot of dressing, but I love the dressing. So yeah, play around with the amount of dressing that you use. That would probably be my best suggestion, and to try different ones. Best way to store cut up onion? I recommend using all the onion if possible. If not, I usually just store them in a glass container in the fridge, and I use them the next day, but I also cut off the exposed area to air, and I discard that before I chop the rest of the onion because of the oxidation that happens with the onions. They do recommend not eating onions after they've been chopped, but that's what I do. I'll like chop off and I take out the outer layer. But I also buy smaller onions sometimes. Like if I can find small red onions, it's like a gold mine to me because I can use a whole red onion in my salad alone. So if they're small enough, I just use the whole thing. I eat a lot of onion, as most of you know. What do you think about juicing for detoxing? I know you said in a video you don't juice much. So I don't juice much. I think it's a fractionated food. Let's be honest. You're taking the fiber out of it, and the fiber is an essential part for detox as well because it traps toxins, it pulls them out of your body. The fiber, the insoluble fiber that we're throwing away or composting has polyphenols in it, which are only released when it's digested in our gut. So, I feel the fiber is more important, and our bodies detox 24/7. We don't have to do anything special to detox. We already detox. It's about supporting our bodies with whole foods and fiber so that our bodies can detox 24/7 naturally on its own. We don't have to push it into anything. So getting rid of oils, getting rid of animal products, getting rid of processed foods, and including more fresh raw fruits and vegetables in their whole form, and supporting our detox pathways with things like cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, radishes. These kinds of foods have a lot of the compounds our bodies need to produce glutathione, which is essential for phase 2 detox in our cells and our liver. So if we really want to detox, we have to fuel ourselves with these nutrients and with fiber and with hydration and with proper sleep and exercise and movement and that kind of thing to help our body to detox naturally on its own. I don't believe that we need to do any special things for detox. So I don't do any of that kind of stuff, but that's just me. I like the work you do. Thank you so much. If you are eating more fiber, do you go to the toilet more? Of course. It's actually healthy to go at least 1 to 3 times a day, ideally on the 2 to 3 times side. So at bare minimum once a day, you should be having a bowel movement. If not, some people are constipated. So 2 to 3 times a day, I think, is ideal. And adding more fiber creates more bulk, so you have more bowel movements. Things are moving a lot smoother and more efficiently. And plus, the more fiber you eat, the more fiber variety you eat, the healthier your gut microbiome becomes, which is, I believe, in essence, the foundation of our health is our gut microbiome, because they do so much for us. So we got to feed them with high fiber options and lots of options. Alternative to jackfruit in the wrap. I don't have any jackfruit in my wrap recipes. I think you're referring to Enzyme's wrap, and you'll have to ask him what he would use as an alternative if that's Enzyme, because he has a jackfruit wrap in one of his ebooks. I don't use jackfruit in my wraps, so you could use one of my wrap recipes if you wanted to. That's what I would suggest, or ask Enzyme if there is. His name on Instagram is enzyme.333, so you can send him a message and see what he thinks if you can use something else in his wrap, because I don't have jackfruit in my wraps. So any recommendations for the raw onion and garlic breath or taste? I don't. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother Nate. And I think when you're in a relationship with someone else who eats a lot of garlic and onion, you don't notice it on each other. So, I mean, I don't really care. I would rather eat it and have that smell. Maybe chew on some mint leaves. A nutritionist told me once that eating raw onion and mushrooms are not properly digested and should be cooked for a few minutes. Your thoughts? I've been eating raw onion for almost a decade, and I have no digestive issues. And actually, the onion that I am eating has improved my gut microbiome score. My score is over 96% out of 100. So it's the highest gut score of anyone that I've known personally who has done the microbiome testing. So I eat a lot of onion and garlic, and I eat raw mushrooms as well. If you're worried, you can cook them. if you're adding them to a raw salad, go for it. I think freezing as well can be an option if you want. You can freeze stuff. It does change the fiber slightly, but I'm not worried about that. I don't know. There is some fear about the mushrooms, but there's no science really on it now. Dr. Michael Greger had a video. If you go to if you go to nutritionfacts.org and you search raw mushrooms, he has a video about if raw mushrooms are safe, and according to his video, it's totally fine. If you want, you could cook them, but I don't worry about it at all. So, wealth of knowledge and experience. Thank you. What fruits and veggies you keep in the fridge and which ones on the counter? I love this one. So, I'm gonna skip my live that I was supposed to do at 1:30. I was just gonna do a bundle walkthrough, but I'll do it after this one because I want to answer all your questions. So, fruits and veggies you keep in the fridge and which on the counter? Most all fruits live on the counter except for berries and things that go moldy fast. Those go in the fridge. And then for vegetables, greens and other vegetables like celery and carrots, they stay in the fridge. I would say most vegetables stay in the fridge, even radishes and stuff like that, because they, if they go wilty on the counter, then they should be in the fridge. And what I like to say is use the grocery store as a guide. Not all grocery stores are perfect, but for the most part, when you go into the produce section, there's like the aisles with the fruit on the tables and stuff. And then there's the cooler with the spray, right? With the water and the spray and the cooler, and they're a little colder. Take note. If it's on the tables, you can keep it on the counter. If it's in the cooler with the water spray, keep it in the fridge. So that's a really great guide to follow. Do you eat a lot of garlic? I do. I eat a crazy amount of garlic. I eat probably half a bulb every day. I put a lot of garlic in my stuff. As a person who eats jackfruit, king oyster mushrooms are a good alternative. That's a great one. I think in his wrap that wouldn't work though. You could probably try mango in his wrap. I don't know if that'll work though. Again, ask him. Because it really depends on the recipe. It really depends on why you're using that ingredient. What would you recommend for neuropathy or OCD? Woo! That's a big one. I don't feel qualified to answer those questions. Obviously, cleaning up your diet is going to be helpful in so many ways, but I would actually talk to a practitioner and find more out about that, because those are mental health issues, OCD and stuff. So I don't feel qualified really to go into detail about that. But as I said, improving your sleep, getting more exercise, improving your diet. These are all things that all of us can do to help in our situations. I have so much garlic and onions stored hanging in my kitchen. People think that I'm keeping away vampires. I love garlic too, and definitely red onions. Yes, those are my favorites. Oh my gosh, I'm a savory girl. I love my fruit. Obviously love my fruit. I eat a lot of fruit. I eat fruit in the morning, fruit for snacks, but I love my savory. I love my salads, and yeah. So thank you everyone for joining. This was an epic live. Thank you so much for keeping me company while Nate is in Oregon, helping his family. Seriously awesome. Yes, such an amazing live. You're the best. You're welcome. What are your tips for clear skin? Acne? Get yourself more raw foods in your diet and start working on building your microbiome by including more variety and lots of greens and sprouts and vegetables along with your fruit, because our skin is a reflection of our gut. So I dealt with candida and acne for most of my adult life, and I'm finally at a place where I really love my skin because of my diet and what I do. Exercise obviously is really good, saunas, red light therapy. Being hydrated is really important as well. Get that hydration in, even if you're eating fruit and vegetables, still get more hydration in. It's very helpful. And yeah, like I said, work on your microbiome, because your microbiome can reflect through your skin. So definitely work on that. Mahini curry mango wrap of yours calls for chopped jackfruit. Okay, I did do one with jackfruit. I was kind of thinking, I'm like, I don't think I have any. I would just you could do mango totally in there. If you don't have access to jackfruit, you can definitely probably use mango in there. I think mango would work. I know there is mango already in there, but you could definitely try using that, or just make a different wrap. If you don't have access to that, then definitely do that. Great live. Thanks for the live. You're welcome. What time again on Saturday for Sprouts 101? It's noon Pacific time. So that would be 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for answering all my questions. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much. I had a blast. I love you all. Don't forget, if you want to support us and if you want to support yourself, go grab the bundle. Link is in my bio. Click up here or go to my page. Click the link in my bio. Grab the bundle and download all the content. You know, log into a live lunch. Start watching those videos. Enjoy. I love you all so much. Mwah! We'll be back for another live later today. I love you. Bye-bye.